The purple grass of the sacred world of the Kais bent low to the ground as a fierce wind blew across the planet. The wind was not natural. It was heavy and smelled like old sulfur and burnt sugar. Gohan and Piccolo stood in front of the old Kai. They had just arrived using instant transmission. Gohan looked around. The usually peaceful planet felt different today. The sky was a darker shade of violet. The giant moons in the sky looked pale, as if they were sick. The river that flowed near the trees was moving too fast. Everything felt wrong. The old Kai was pacing back and forth. He was walking in small circles. He was tapping his chin with his fingers. He looked very worried. Kibito Kai stood next to him, shaking his head. Whis and Beerus were there too. Beerus was sitting on a rock, but he was not eating. He was tapping his foot impatiently. His ears were twitching. He looked annoyed and a little bit nervous. Gohan stepped forward. He bowed to the old Kai. He asked what was happening. He asked why the wind felt so evil. The old Kai stopped pacing. He looked at Gohan. He pointed his cane at Gohan's chest. He said this was all Gohan's fault. Gohan blinked. He felt a knot form in his stomach. He asked what he did. He said he just defeated Cooler. He saved the Earth. He saved Piccolo. He thought he did a good job. The old Kai sighed. It was a long, deep sigh that sounded like a tire losing air. He said that saving the Earth was good, but the way Gohan did it was the problem. He explained that the universe is delicate. It is like a spider web. If you touch one part of the web, the whole thing shakes. Gohan's new form, the Super Saiyan Rose, was not a normal transformation. It was a mix of mortal blood and Kai energy. It was a bridge between two worlds that are usually kept separate. The old Kai drew a circle in the dirt with his cane. He said that on one side, you have the world of the living. On the other side, you have the world of the dead. And below both of them, hidden in the dark, is the demon realm. The demon realm is a place of chaos. It is where the laws of physics do not work. It is where magic is wild and dangerous. For millions of years, the demon realm has been sealed away. The seal was made by the ancient Kais. It was a strong lock. But locks can break. The old Kai looked Gohan in the eye. He said that when Gohan transformed into the divine beast, his energy created a specific vibration. It was a frequency that resonated with the seal. It was like an opera singer breaking a glass with their voice. Gohan's power sang a song that the seal could not handle. And now the seal was cracking. Piccolo crossed his arms. His cape fluttered in the strange wind. He asked what would happen if the seal broke completely. Whis answered this time. He floated down from the air. He landed softly. He said that if the seal broke, the demon realm would merge with the mortal universe. The sky would turn to blood. Monsters that have not been seen since the beginning of time would roam free. Darkness would eat the stars. It would be the end of order. It would be the end of civilization. Beerus grunted. He said he did not want to destroy demons. They tasted terrible, and they were annoying to fight because they used magic instead of fists. He told Gohan to fix it. He said, since Gohan broke it, Gohan bought it. Gohan looked at his hands. He felt a heavy weight on his shoulders. He had just wanted to protect his family. He did not know his power would put the whole universe in danger. He asked how he could fix it. The old Kai explained that the crack in the seal was leaking demon energy. That was what caused the wind. They had to go to the physical location of the seal. It was located in a dimensional rift called the Twilight Zone. Once they were there, Gohan had to use his rose energy to patch the crack. His energy was the only thing that would work because his energy was the key that opened it. He had to be the key that locked it again. But there was a catch. The demon realm inhabitants knew the seal was weakening. They would be waiting on the other side. They would try to stop Gohan. They would try to widen the crack. Goku stepped forward. He had been listening quietly. He cracked his knuckles. He said it sounded like an adventure. He said he would come too. He would fight the demons while Gohan fixed the seal. Vegeta nodded. He said he would not let Kakarot go alone. He wanted to see these demons. He wanted to prove that a Saiyan prince was stronger than any magic. The old Kai shook his head. He said it was dangerous, but he knew he could not stop them. He told them to be careful. The Twilight Zone was a place where Kai control was difficult. If they used too much power, they might break the rift and fall into the void forever. Whis tapped his staff on the ground. A cube of clear energy appeared around Gohan, Piccolo, Goku, and Vegeta. Whis said he would take them to the entrance of the Twilight Zone. Beerus said he would stay behind. He had to guard the universe in case something slipped out. He told them not to fail. He told them if they failed, he would destroy them before the demons could. The cube lifted off the ground. It shot up into the purple sky. It flew past the moons. It went faster and faster until the stars turned into lines of light. Gohan watched the sacred world disappear. He felt nervous. He looked at Piccolo. Piccolo put a hand on Gohan's shoulder. He did not say anything, but his grip was firm. It meant he was there. It meant they were a team. They traveled for what felt like hours, but was probably only seconds. They arrived at the edge of the universe. There were no stars here. It was just blackness. In front of them was a tear in the fabric of space. It looked like a jagged wound. Purple and red light was bleeding out of it. This was the entrance to the Twilight Zone. Whis stopped the cube. He said he could not go further. Angels were not allowed to interfere directly with the demon realm unless ordered by the Grand Priest. He said he would wait here. He opened the cube. The four warriors stepped out into the void. They floated in the emptiness. The air was cold and heavy. It felt like walking through water. They flew towards the tear. As they got closer, they could hear sounds, screams, laughs, whispers. It was the sound of the demon realm. They passed through the tear. The world changed instantly. They were no longer in space. They were in a corridor made of twisted rock and grey clouds. The gravity was strange. Sometimes it pulled them down, sometimes it pulled them up. In the distance, they saw the seal. It was a massive door made of golden light. It was thousands of miles high. It was covered in ancient symbols. But right in the middle of the door, there was a black crack. The crack was pulsing. Every time it pulsed, black smoke poured out. Gohan flew towards the door. He could feel the evil energy coming from the crack. It made his skin crawl. It felt sticky and gross. He stopped in front of the crack. It was wider than a river. He could see through it. On the other side was a world of red fire and black spikes. He saw eyes looking back at him. Thousands of yellow eyes. Goku and Vegeta took positions on either side of Gohan. Piccolo stood behind him, watching his back. Gohan took a deep breath. He closed his eyes. He summoned the rose energy. He did not let it explode out. He brought it out slowly, like pouring water from a pitcher. A pink glow surrounded him. It was warm and calm. He extended his hands towards the crack. He pushed the pink energy into the black crack. The energy acted like cement. It began to fill the hole. The black smoke stopped pouring out. The golden door began to shine brighter. It was working. Gohan focused harder. He had to be precise. He had to match the frequency of the seal. But just as he was making progress, a roar shook the corridor. A massive hand reached out from the crack. It was a red hand with black claws. It grabbed the edge of the crack and pulled. The door groaned. The crack widened. Gohan was thrown back by the force. A figure stepped out of the crack. It squeezed through the hole. It was huge. It was a demon. He stood 20 feet tall. His skin was crimson red. He had two large horns curling from his head. He wore black armor with spikes. He had a tail that whipped around like a snake. He held a giant sword made of bone. He looked at the warriors. He smiled. His teeth were sharp and yellow. He spoke. His voice sounded like rocks grinding together. He said his name was Lord Malice. He was a general of the demon realm. He thanked Gohan for loosening the door. He said he had been waiting for 1,000 years to stretch his legs. Goku did not wait for an introduction. He turned Super Saiyan Blue immediately. He shouted and charged at Malice. He punched Malice in the face. Bam! The punch landed. But Malice did not move. He did not even blink. He looked at Goku. He laughed. He swung his bone sword, and Goku dodged, but the wind from the sword cut his cheek. Goku flew back. He looked surprised. He said this guy was tough. Vegeta charged in next. He fired a volley of energy blasts. Bang, bang, bang. The blasts hit Malice's armor. Smoke covered the demon. Vegeta smirked. But the smoke cleared, and Malice was unharmed. He simply brushed the dust off his shoulder. Malice raised his hand. He spoke a word in a strange language. A bolt of black lightning shot from his fingers. It hit Vegeta. Vegeta screamed. The lightning did not burn him. It drained him. He fell to his knees. His blue hair flickered and turned back to black. He was exhausted in 1 second. Piccolo shouted that it was magic. Demons used magic to steal energy. Physical strength meant nothing if you had no energy to use it. Piccolo flew in. He used his stretching arms. He wrapped them around Malice's sword arm. He tried to hold him back. He told Gohan to focus on the seal. He said they would hold the monster off. Gohan looked at his friends. Vegeta was down. Goku was struggling. Piccolo was straining. Gohan wanted to help them. He wanted to fight. But he knew the mission. If he didn't fix the seal, millions of demons would come out. Malice was just one. Imagine 1,000,000 of him. Gohan turned his back on the fight. He faced the door. He raised his hands again. He poured more power into the crack. He sweated. It was hard to concentrate with the sounds of battle behind him. He heard Goku grunt. He heard the sound of heavy punches. Malice was strong. He threw Piccolo into a wall of grey rock. He kicked Goku into the ground. He walked towards Gohan. He said he would kill the boy first. He raised his bone sword. Gohan felt the killing intent. He could not ignore it. If he didn't move, he would die. Gohan stopped healing the seal. He spun around. He caught the giant bone sword with one hand. His pink aura flared. He looked at Malice. Gohan's eyes were silver and sharp. He said Malice was making a mistake. Malice laughed. He pushed down on the sword. Gohan's feet cracked the stone floor. The pressure was immense. Gohan pushed back. He punched the sword. The bone shattered. Malice looked shocked. He looked at his broken weapon. Gohan did not give him time to think. Gohan kicked Malice in the chest. Malice flew back through the air. He crashed into the golden door. The impact shook the seal. Gohan winced. He had to be careful. He could not hit the door. Malice stood up. He was angry now. He roared. His red skin started to glow. He grew bigger. He grew wings. He was transforming. He became a true demon beast. He flew at Gohan. Gohan met him in the air. They clashed. Gohan was faster. He was stronger. His divine beast form was superior. But Malice had magic. He spit a cloud of purple mist. Gohan held his breath. The mist was poison. It melted the rocks around them. Gohan flew up to avoid it. Malice fired spikes from his armor. Gohan deflected them. Gohan realized he could not drag this out. He had to finish it quickly and get back to the seal. He flew high above Malice. He clasped his hands together. He charged a Masenko, but he infused it with Rose energy. "Demon banishing Masenko!" he shouted. He fired the beam. It hit Malice. Malice screamed as the divine energy burned his dark soul. The demon was pushed back towards the crack. Gohan pushed harder. He wanted to push Malice back into the demon realm. Malice grabbed the edges of the crack. He tried to hold on. He refused to go back. Gohan shouted. He poured all his strength into the beam. Malice lost his grip. He tumbled backwards into the red world on the other side. Gohan stopped the beam. He flew to the crack immediately. He placed his hands on the edges. He used his energy to weld the door shut. It took time. Seconds felt like hours. Slowly, the crack began to shrink. The black smoke stopped. The golden light returned. Finally, the crack vanished. The seal was whole again. Gohan collapsed in the air. He was tired. He breathed heavily. He looked at his hands. They were shaking. He had done it. He floated down to his friends. Goku was helping Vegeta up. Piccolo was rubbing his arm. They were battered, but they were alive. Goku laughed. He said that was a tough workout. He said Gohan was amazing. Vegeta grunted. He said he just let his guard down. He would defeat the next one. They walked back through the corridor. They exited the Twilight Zone. Whis was waiting for them in the cube. He smiled. He said they did well. He said the seal was stable again. The universe was safe. Gohan felt a wave of relief. He just wanted to go home. He wanted to eat a real meal. He wanted to see Videl and Pan. They got into the cube. Whis tapped his staff. They flew back towards Earth. The journey was quiet. Gohan slept for a few minutes. He dreamed of a peaceful meadow. But while they were traveling back on Earth, the nightmare was not over. It was just changing shape. In the middle of West City, there was a large industrial park. It was full of factories and warehouses. It was nighttime. The security guards were drinking coffee and watching TV. They did not notice a small, metallic chip crawling on the floor. The chip was the piece of metal cooler that had survived. It was weak. It needed power. It crawled into the main power plant of the city. It found a bundle of thick electrical cables. It sliced into them. It connected itself to the city's power grid. Sparks flew. The lights in the city flickered. The chip began to absorb electricity. It grew. It absorbed the metal from the cables. It absorbed the steel from the walls. It began to build a new body. But this time, it did not want to look like Cooler. Cooler had failed. The chip decided to adapt. It analyzed the data it had collected from the fight with Gohan. It analyzed Gohan's movements. It analyzed his shape. The metal twisted and turned. It formed legs. It formed arms. It formed a head. Within an hour, a new machine stood in the power plant. It was not bulky like the robots. It was sleek. It was human-sized. It was silver, but it had purple lines glowing all over its body. It had no face, just a smooth metal surface with two vertical red slits for eyes. It looked like a ninja made of mercury. It flexed its fingers. They were sharp blades. It tested its speed. It moved so fast it was invisible. It was silent. It was deadly. It was the Neo Cooler. Neo Cooler walked out of the power plant. The security guards saw him. They drew their weapons. They shouted for him to stop. Neo Cooler did not stop. He walked past them. The guards fired. The bullets hit his metal skin and flattened. Neo Cooler did not even look at them. He raised one hand. A shockwave of invisible force blew the guards away. They hit the wall and fell unconscious. Neo Cooler looked at the city skyline. He saw the lights of the buildings. He saw the Capsule Corporation headquarters in the distance. He knew what that place was. It was where the technology was. It was where the radar was. Neo Cooler wanted to find the Dragon Balls. The big Gete star had data on them. If he could get the Dragon Balls, he could wish for a body that could never be destroyed. He could wish for infinite energy. He started to run. He did not run on the ground. He ran on the sides of the buildings. He jumped from roof to roof. He was a silver shadow. Back in space, the cube arrived at Earth. Whis dropped them off at the lookout. Dendo was waiting. He looked terrified. He ran to them. He told them that something was attacking West City. He said it felt like the same energy as before, but different. Sharper, quieter. Gohan felt a cold chill. He knew it. He had missed something. He told Goku and Vegeta to rest. They were drained from the demon magic. He said he would handle this. Piccolo said he would come too. He was not as drained as the Saiyans. Gohan and Piccolo flew towards West City. They saw the smoke rising from the power plant. They saw the dark streets. The power was out in half the city. They flew towards Capsule Corp. Gohan sensed the energy. It was inside the main laboratory. He flew down. He smashed through the window. He landed in the lab. Dr. Briefs and Bulma were hiding behind a desk. They were shaking. Standing in the middle of the room was Neo Cooler. He was holding the Dragon Radar. Neo Cooler turned to face Gohan. The red slits on his face glowed. He spoke. His voice was different now. It was smoother. It sounded like Gohan's voice mixed with a computer. He said, "Hello, brother." Gohan was confused. He asked who he was. Neocooler said he was the evolution. He was the answer to Gohan's power. He dropped the radar. He stepped forward. His arm transformed into a long silver blade. Gohan got into his stance. He was tired from the demon fight. His energy was not at 100%, but he had to fight. Bulma screamed for Gohan to be careful. She said this robot had hacked into the Capsule Corp database. It knew everything about Saiyan biology. It knew their weak points. Neocooler lunged. He was fast. Incredibly fast. Gohan barely dodged the blade. It cut a strand of his hair. Neocooler spun and kicked Gohan in the ribs. Gohan felt the metal dig in. It was harder than the old cooler. Piccolo jumped in. He fired a special beam cannon. The beam hit Neocooler in the back, but it did not pierce. The liquid metal moved around the beam, letting it pass through harmlessly. Neocooler laughed. He grabbed Piccolo's arm. He threw Piccolo through the wall. He focused back on Gohan. He said he did not want to kill Gohan yet. He wanted to absorb him. He wanted the divine energy. Gohan realized that physical attacks might not work if the enemy could turn into liquid. He needed to freeze him or burn him completely. He remembered he was in a lab. He looked around. He saw tanks of liquid nitrogen. He had an idea. He backed up. He lured Neocooler towards the tanks. Neocooler followed, confident in his speed. He slashed at Gohan. Gohan ducked. He kicked the valve of the nitrogen tank. The gas exploded out. It was freezing cold. It hit Neocooler. The liquid metal began to harden. It turned white. The silver shine became dull. Neocooler slowed down. His movements became stiff. He tried to speak, but his voice was slow and distorted. Ro. Gohan saw his chance. He could not destroy the building with the big blast. He had to be precise. He powered up. He concentrated his ki into his fingertips. He used a technique he had not used in a long time. The Masenko, but condensed into a tiny ball. He jumped forward. He slammed the energy ball into Neocooler's frozen chest. "Disappear!" Gohan shouted. The energy ball expanded inside the robot. It shattered the frozen metal from the inside out. Neocooler exploded into 1,000,000 pieces of ice and scrap metal. The pieces scattered across the lab floor. They did not move. They did not regenerate. The cold had killed the active cells in the metal. Gohan stood up. He breathed a sigh of relief. He checked on Bulma and Dr. Briefs. They were okay. Piccolo walked back in through the hole in the wall. He was dusting off his clothes. He looked at the pile of scrap metal. He kicked a piece. He said that was annoying. Gohan agreed. He hoped that was really the end of it. He collected the pieces. He said he would take them to the sun and throw them in, just to be sure. He was not taking any chances this time. Bulma thanked him. She said she would upgrade the city's security. She would make sensors that could detect this specific metal. Gohan nodded. He picked up the scrap metal in a big bag. He flew up. He flew into space. He threw the bag into the sun. He watched it burn. He felt better. He flew back to Earth. He went home. It was late. Very late. The house was quiet. Gohan walked into the bedroom. Fidel was asleep. Pan was asleep. Gohan took off his torn gi. He looked at himself in the mirror. He had bruises. He was tired, but he felt strong. He had protected 2 worlds in 1 night. He crawled into bed. He closed his eyes. He fell asleep instantly. But deep in the universe, far away from Earth, the balance was still shifting. The brief opening of the demon realm had let something else out. It was not a demon. It was a thought, a whisper. It traveled through the vacuum of space. It reached a planet that was dead and grey. On this planet, there was a throne made of bones. Sitting on the throne was a small, blue man with white hair. He was a wizard. He held a staff with a crystal ball. The wizard looked into his crystal ball. He saw the image of Gohan. He saw the pink hair. He saw the silver eyes. The wizard smiled. His smile was crooked and evil. He spoke to the shadows. He said, "The vessel has been found." He stood up. He tapped his staff. Babidi failed. Bibidi failed. But Gai Hoi will not fail. He walked towards a large box that was sealed with magic paper. It was a music box. He wound the key. A haunting melody began to play. "Wake up," Hoi whispered. "The hero has arrived. It is time for the villain to rise." Inside the music box, something stirred. A red eye opened. It was the eye of a legendary warrior. A warrior who had slept for 1,000 years. A warrior named Tapion? No, that was the hero. This was the monster inside. This was Hiru Dagan. But it was not just a monster. Hoi had modified it. He had used the dark magic leaking from the seal Gohan fixed. Hoi laughed. He began to chant. The ground of the dead planet shook. A ship rose from the ground. Hoi got in. He set the coordinates for Earth. He said he would bring Gohan a gift of smoke and fire, a gift that would test the divine beast to his limits. Gohan slept peacefully, unaware that the next challenge was already on its way. The era of peace was truly over. The era of the divine beast had begun. And every shadow in the universe wanted to test the light. The screen fades to black as the music box melody continues to play, slow and creepy. The story of the divine beast continues. The shadows are gathering in the next episode.